Today we're going to begin a series on the rapture and why it is so important to know when it's going to take place. It seems like every time I start to question someone who believes in a pre-trib rapture, I get the same stock answer. What difference does it make as long as you're ready? So the answer is it makes a huge difference. Now let me explain. In Matthew chapter 4, Satan tried to use the scriptures against Jesus. He took him to the holy city and he set him upon a pinnacle of the temple, right up at the top of the temple. Pretty much everyone is, I'm sure, familiar with this story. And he said, "If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone." So God's going to protect you. That's in Matthew 4:6. Jesus saw through Satan's deception, and he answered, "It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God." That's the next scripture, Matthew 4:7. So misinterpretation of the scripture has long been one of Satan's favorite deceptions. Jesus, of course, was well aware of this and was not fooled for an instant, but he wanted us to learn an important lesson about understanding the scriptures. That's why he answered Satan with another scripture. The lesson is simple and it's twofold. First of all, know the whole Bible so that you can rightly divide the word and recognize false interpretations. Second, understand that if Satan tried to use Scripture to deceive Jesus, how much more will he try to use Scripture to deceive you? Now, the Great Tribulation will be a time of affliction, unsurpassed in human history. But even more importantly than that, it will be a time of unprecedented persecution and bloodshed of Christians. Millions of Christian men, women, and children around the world will be martyred for their faith. Pre-tribulationists teach us that the church will not be on earth during the Great Tribulation. What if the pre-tribulationists are wrong? What if the many chapters of the Bible that tell us of the Great Tribulation were put there as a warning, just like the dreams of Pharaoh, so that we would know to repair? Everyone remembers the story of Joseph and Pharaoh and how God gave Pharaoh dreams showing 7 years of famine, 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. And the years of plenty were there so that people could prepare and save up for the famine. So what if the many chapters in the Bible that tell us of the Great Tribulation were put there as a warning, just like those dreams of Pharaoh? What if ignoring the many warnings about the Great Tribulation and not making any preparations, what if that's no different than throwing yourself off the pinnacle of the temple and expecting God to catch you? What if the pre-tribulation rapture is not a blessed hope, but is instead a dangerous deception? That's the question we're going to be answering in this series of lessons. And I think you're going to see that when you look into the Bible, that there's no question that the rapture takes place at the end of the tribulation, at the time of the second coming of Christ, and that the church will be here on earth during the tribulation. And that's what makes it so important as to know when it's going to happen. Because if you're here on the earth during the tribulation, you're not going to be able to buy or sell or do a lot of other things unless you take the mark of the beast. So if you're not prepared to feed yourself, if you're not prepared to feed your family, what are you going to do? You say, oh, God's just going to take care of me. Well, what if God put the warnings there throughout the Bible so that you would make preparations to take care of yourself, just like he did with Pharaoh? He gave them years of plenty. And Joseph used the wisdom that God gave him to say, yeah, use these years of plenty to save up so that you'll be able to go through the famine and make it. So we need to use these years now to prepare ourselves for the time of tribulation. And that's what this series is going to be all about, is to show you without question that there will be no pre-tribulation rapture. It is absolutely, positively not in the Bible. There is no question at all that it is a dangerous deception. We're going to go through this page by page through the Bible. I've got a number of texts I'm going to be using. This first one here, this is a book that I wrote called The Layman's Guide to the Rapture. So it's a layman's guide. What that means is you don't have to be a Bible scholar. You don't have to be a Greek scholar, a Hebrew scholar, or anything else. You can read in any version of the Bible you want. You will see that the pre-tribulation rapture is absolutely untrue. I'm also going to be using some David Jeremiah, The Great Disappearance. He believes in a pre-tribulation rapture. The Rapture Question by John Walvoord. He's one of the big pre-tribulation rapture people. Another one here, Every Pre-Trib Answer Argument answered. So this is a gentleman who, Robert Adams, who does not believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, and he's got answers. We're going to be going through some of his answers to the different things that are being taught that are causing people to believe in the dangerous deception. And then we've got a quick look at the rapture and the second coming by Tim LaHaye. These are all big names. That's why I picked these books. Mark Hitchcock, Ed Henderson, again. Can we still believe in the rapture? So these people are all big pre-tribulation rapture teachers, and we're going to be looking at their teachings, and we're going to be showing you biblically exactly where the teaching is wrong. And I'm not doing this to put these people down. You know that many of these people have made a lot of accomplishments for the Lord throughout their lives, and I'm not doubting their character or their Christianity, but I am saying that they have been tricked, just like so many other people. So that's where we're going to be going with this series. That's all that's going to be for today. So we'll see you next time.